Wanted to do a little reactionary video while I was driving. Hope everyone's doing all right. Appreciate all those that subscribe, like my posts. Thanks for the comment, those good and bad. We're gonna play some videos here and do a reaction. See what you think. I like the ones by I got some different ones here. One is Jesse Lee Patterson. I like him. He has his own style.
Just expose this liberal's hypocrisy.
I pay my black employees more than I do my white ones. Is that racism? I'm discriminating against my white employees.
It is discrimination.
Is that racism?
About it, but I'm not sure it's racism.
Why not?
Because the white folks still call the shots.
But I'm calling the shot. Is it racism?
No.
But why, if the white man does it, it's racist, but if I do it, it's not?
White privilege is the answer.
But I'm privileged here. I own the company. I'm paying the salary.
But that doesn't necessarily give you the kind of privilege that a white man would have.
I have a better privilege. I own the company.
Jesse Lee Peterson just exposed this liberal's hypocrisy.
That's the one of the main problems with the left. They don't make sense because they don't use their philosophy across the board. They're saying a black man is lesser than a white man by saying a black man can't discriminate. And I've heard black preachers say that. They don't have the same power. If you can take a person's livelihood, you can take a person's life, you have the same power. Now, historically, yes, racism. And it's going to get worse as the African American culture deteriorates. You're going to have less African Americans able to get a decent job, live a decent life in America, because the culture says to be a black man is to be a thug. You got rap music, you got discrimination within the ranks on color, who got the biggest lips, who got the biggest nose, who is blue, black, who's yellow. So all that is to consider. And in the near future, I want to reach out to those in the know, or those who have opinion. Everybody has opinion, but an educated one, or one that is formulated and not just about emotions. They have thought it through, and that's one of the things I want to look at. What is Black America? And I've heard people cast out of Black America because they was too white, they're too educated, this, that, and the other. They didn't grow up in the hood or whatever. So if it's not your color, then it has to be your culture. But many don't want to claim that, because then they see, like many of the on the left and the socialists see, they lose ground with that notion. Now that was one. That was Jesse Lee Patterson, and I said I like his style. I can't agree with everything he says, but I agree with a lot. All right, let's get another one up here. All right.
Dusty old race hustler Cornel West goes on national TV and gets cooked by based Gen Z patriot watch.
if the only way that you can get your point across is going and raping and beheading people, then you're probably a terrorist and you're probably an extremist. I do have an issue with that. I do have an issue with the fact that you...
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Why are we still talking about white supremacy in 2024? You're stuck in the past. You're stuck in these dated issues.
Now you're really revealing your ignorance. You don't think white supremacy has anything to do with what's going on in Gaza?
I've been black for 27 years, and I have never been inferior to a white person. What is the white supremacy that is affecting your life? I would like to hear it.
Nobody in your family.
I would like to hear it. What can't I do that a white person can't do?
You one of the few black people never been mistreated. Okay, all right. I see.
Saying that I've never been mistreated. Every demographic has been mistreated.
Dusty.
Now that's Cornel West, and he has been race hustling for decades, and it's several black people, they call themselves African Americans, who make a living about being oppressed. It's never about a victory march for those who have overcome, including himself. He's a college professor, but he's oppressed. His people is oppressed. Not showing or delving into why black people are having problems. Why and how can they overcome these problems? Instead, he is making money off of the suffering of others. And I've seen him speaking at black churches. The ones who invite him, those who sit in the pews, don't really know him. Because he stands up there and he preaches his philosophy. He's a straight up Marxist. Those in the pews don't know he's a Marxist. Don't know his backward views. So that's another race hustler that's living off the black caucus, the dead body of the African Americans, black people, and getting nowhere and not wanting to go anywhere. So that's reaction number 2. See what else we got here.
How do you feel about this? Do you feel like it's true or too far-fetched? Let me know.
To be completely honest about what I believe, because I just say it the way I say it. There is such negligence here that I pray and I hope that that's exactly what it was, a complete failure in the cooperation and coordination of local law enforcement and other agencies. But the more that I look at this, as much as I don't want to be this conspiracy to say its intent, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. First, they wanted to silence and censor him. Then they wanted to indict and imprison him. Now they've tried to kill him. We need to start having a proper investigation. So at minimum, we can share with the American people with confidence that this was just negligence.
Do the Secret Service want Trump to get shot?
Let me say this real quick, Charlie. The bottom line is that 26 minutes on a rooftop, a law enforcement officer who actually encountered him on the roof that he pointed a rifle at. Why would that not have a emergency comms freak for everyone that's involved to be able to say, shoot on the roof, shoot on the roof, shoot on the roof, immediately grab the president, get him down, and get him out of there? This right here is the biggest failure and massive security breach that I'm...
How do you feel about this? Do you feel like...
All right, that's, I'm doing this random. But the 2 on the race hustlers I really like. One was a white woman, a liberal, and the other was Cornel West. Now, this one about Trump, I like this guy. I can't think of his name. I don't see his name on here yet. But I'll try to put a link in the description below. But what you see is we're living in some interesting times where it was a breath here of civil war. You know, a lot of people think that. I don't know it would have fell apart that much, but it would have been chaos. The thing is about it, and I love this, and it was said over and over. Even though our presidential nominee was shot, we did not riot. That shows the difference from the right and the left. Now, the right, don't get me wrong. I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again. The left is anti-God. The right is anti-Christ. They're both wrong, because we're talking about men. But the anti-Christ people, they have their own problem. But if you notice, the anti-God people are getting ridiculous. And they're slowly uncovering all that we said they was going to do in the first place. But getting back to Trump, just by turning his head, he was able to survive the shooting. And we don't know where that would have led to, but we do know that it would have been some trouble. But we don't riot like they do on the left, and thank God for that. But as you see, and just to go on that same note, as you see, with the gates open at the southern border, they're replacing the African Americans, especially, that they're losing to Trump. And as you see, they are going against the bill that would say only American citizens can vote in federal elections. That should be a non-starter. But when you go against the bill, and you don't do a counter bill to clarify, say, yeah, we want only American citizens to vote, but this is how we prefer to do it. No, you just call it racism to say that American citizens, blacks, cannot show up to the polls with an ID card. Are you kidding me? You can't get on any airline without a driver license or some form of identification. So this type of thing shows how low they think the black American is. All right, let's do another. Let's see what we got here.
What year were Native Americans granted birthright citizenship? Jackson.
1924.
That is correct. Women did not have the political right to vote when the U.S. Constitution was ratified. What year did this change? Jackson.
1919.
Incorrect. 1920. What is the term for voters who have no political affiliation? Parker.
Independent.
That is correct. What is the term for an organization of workers who share the same type of job or who work in the same industry? Page.
Unions.
That is correct. What is the term used to describe the direct approach of interest groups to try to influence policy? Parker.
Lobbying.
That is correct. Are members of Congress allowed to receive gifts from lobbyists or their clients? Shashan.
No.
You are correct. Which U.S. president formed the Bull Moose Progressive Party?
Theodore Roosevelt.
That is correct. What is the role of state legislature? Lucy.
To create legislation for each respective state.
That is correct. True or false? Unlike the U.S. Congress, state legislatures are not restricted by their state constitutions.
False.
It was true. What year were Native Americans granted birthright citizenship?
Well, that was entertaining and informative. Again, that I'm coming back to illegal immigration. Those that go through the system come out far better than those who do not, in my opinion, from what I observed from my little time on the earth. Because going through this process, they come out with knowledge that a lot of native-born Americans don't even have. So, on the illegal immigration topic, I would like to say there needs to be a push. I don't go with all the rhetoric, throw them all out, but yes, it needs to. We have to stop at the border. We have to have a border. We can't have an open border. No country has an open border. We have to, and sometimes they go and say, well, Europe has an open. Yes, it's the United States of Europe that has within the borders. They still have exterior borders where immigration is held. Those who are immigrating must process through it. So, all right, going back to that, the process has to be put in place where those that come over are vetted, knowing who they are, where they come from, and what they offer. It has to be. We cannot have a broken system like we have now. That's why Joe has to go, and not Kamala. So, whether you agree with me or not, we have to have a system with some checks and balances that protect the American system. And that is why you got someone like Trump. If you don't want someone like Trump, you got to meet the Republicans halfway. But this radical free money, which is not free, if you do your history, if you study your history, if you study the past, you know that when they enacted the first federal income tax, it was going after the rich. They end up going after the middle class eventually. So all that is a gimmick to get you to bow down to the system. And Americans, now we are washed in taxes. I'm gonna cut this short. I'll start it again in a little bit, but appreciate those who tune in, and hope to see you soon. Come on, baby.